This is Attenborough, my green tree python, and his entire enclosure, his 2 new dawn LED lights, his UV lights, and his infrared heat projector are all ran off solar power. Not just that, but Diego, my bearded dragon, also is on solar power. Now this all came about on a drunken night when I'm trying to figure out how can I provide electricity inside my van for when I'm doing long distance reptile rescue work. How can I provide them heat? I can't just buy a battery pack and expect that to run 240 volt, which is what we do here in the UK. So how can I do it? Then it clicked. Drunken ideas are always the best ideas. Solar power. We've got 400 watts of solar panels on the roof of this property. Solar panels just like this one you see right here. This is the one I'm actually going to be using for my van. So now I know it works, and it's been working for about 6 weeks. There are some problems. We'll go through that towards the end. I know it works, so I can start working on my van with stuff like this. The solar panel, 400 watts on the roof of this property. They're linked up to an MPPT solar panel charge control unit. This is the fascinating bit. This is the gubbins, the brains of it all. This takes the electricity that's from the solar panels straight into these 2 holes here. Then this decides where that power should go, whether it should go to a storage battery or over to a inverter where I can plug the electrics into. This distributes that how it should be done. So we've got 2 batteries, 2 normal bog standard caravan leisure batteries that are linked up together, and this charges those batteries, and it also fires the electricity through to these guys. So if the sun's not out, this will be telling the brains to sort of take the electricity from the batteries instead of from the sun. And then when the sun does come back out, the sun will come back out and recharge the batteries up again, all while still providing electricity for both this enclosure, my bearded dragon, and my green tree python. Off this unit, we've got outlet sockets just there for a general positive and neutral, and we've got something like this. This is a smaller version. We've got a 1200 watt inverter. That inverts it from 12 volt from the batteries to 240 volt plugs. You can see just that's where the plug goes in there. Again, we can just turn it off and on. What have I got plugged into that? Well, can you see just there, we've got a tower of 10 plugs. It's a 10 plug socket thing. That's what's running these. In this enclosure just here, we've got 2 new dawn LED plant grow lights. We've got 1 UV light, and they're on 12 hours on, 12 hours off all day. The joy with this, when the sun's out, is normally when those lights are actually on. So it doesn't tend to drain the battery too much. However, at night time and all through the day, we do have a heat source on there. So when the sun goes in, no power is really going to that. So then it uses the power from the battery to supply that enclosure with heat. Diego, my bearded dragon, has only got 2 UV lamps and 1 heat bulb. They're on 12 hours on, 12 hours off, and really only when the sun's actually out. So it doesn't really use any power from the battery. The joy with that means this will be able to charge up the batteries once the sun comes out in the morning, and it replenishes the actual electric that's in the battery that's been used up by this system at night time. Now, it works perfectly fine. However, if we get a few days where there's no sun, it does tend to drain the battery quite a lot. So the sun comes out eventually and then charges up the batteries perfectly fine. But when it comes around to winter and there's not that much sun for a long period of time, the batteries are going to drain heavily. So that's one fault that I've found so far. The way to get around that is, 1, add another solar panel to the roof of the actual property that we're in now. I can add up to 500 watts to this system. If I do add any more, I will have to upgrade this. However, if I add another solar panel up there, that's more electricity coming in to charge an additional battery that I have or will have rigged up. So I've noticed here in the UK, we get 50% sort of light and sun and 50% where there's none at all. Just the general weather and climate that we have here. I am going to have to upgrade the battery and the solar panels to be able to accommodate that. You might sort of sit there worrying about, oh my God, but what happens if the batteries do run out? It's really simple. 1, your solar charge control unit will tell you when the batteries are low. It tells you the level that the batteries are actually at. And if it gets too low and it doesn't look like it's going to improve, you can simply go to your plug on the inverter, unplug it from the inverter and plug it straight into your house. Me personally, I'm aiming to not do that because I want to be able to run this on solar power permanently. So I'm just going to upgrade the system to accommodate the winters that we do have here. The whole price of the full system that I've got in so far has cost around about £500. This enclosure, my green tree python, costs around £2.50 a week to run. My bearded dragon costs about £2 to run a week. So that's £4.50. Over the next, I don't know, 12 weeks, I would have made my money back. Is that right maths? I don't know. Let me know if that's right maths in the comments down below. I would have made the money back on the solar panel. So I'll be operating for free. And I've got so many options to expand both the solar panels, the charge control unit, the batteries, the sheer amount or size of the batteries. So one day I could initially run my entire reptile room off pure solar power. The panels themselves, they've got a 10-year warranty built in with them. So if there's a problem, I just make a phone call, they send me out a new one. Not a problem. Imagine the savings over the next 10 years if this system's going to pay itself off in as little as 4 months. That maths just doesn't seem right to me. So £4.50 to run those 2 enclosures for a week. The system cost me £500. Over 100 weeks. This will last over 100 weeks. So after 100 weeks, 111 weeks, I'll have made my money back. And then these are guaranteed for 10 years. That means over 2 years, this will pay itself off. It's guaranteed for 10 years. That means I've got 8 years of free electricity, which means a saving of nearly £2,000 just to run these 2 enclosures. Ooh! You tell I was drunk when I made this idea up. I even got myself some 12-volt fans, so I can just whack them straight up somewhere up there to allow a bit of extra naturalism into that enclosure. A little bit of wind never hurts anybody. And if you're new around here, my name's Richard. We want you to subscribe to this channel, Northern Exotics, because we bring you all the latest information technologically and scientifically to do with reptiles.